Okay, we are back live. Now we're with duel number 2 in the Pacific region. Um, would love to have my overlay working. I'm just still a newbie at this. I'm figuring it out, but it's bogging the machine down too much. So right now we're working without the overlay, but I will hopefully be your eyes and ears here. We are watching the second duel of the night, last duel of the night in the Pacific region, and effectively what we are doing here is we are qualifying for the pro split of the Daytona 500 in the Pacific region. Top 5 drivers in this race will advance automatically into the pro split of the Pacific region Daytona 500. That's a mouthful. There's one driver in this field who has already clinched their spot in the pro split, and that's Mike Franklin, by virtue of his second best qualifying time during the week. He's going to be riding outside front row in the 500, outside of his teammate Blake Reynolds. So it's going to be an all-riding shotgun front row. In the first duel, we had Ray Partridge of Dog Bear win that duel, followed by Chris Pence, who led the majority of that first duel from riding shotgun. So we've got 3 riding shotgun drivers in the first 2 rows. They're going to be a force for sure come Sunday. We had a second Dog Bear driver in Chad Barker advance in, and we did have one Alliance driver in Matthew Thunhorst qualify his way in, and Matthew had an amazing drive from getting involved in a little bit of an incident on the second to last caution from 14th to 3rd. Amazing. And then you had, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, you had Scott Corbin of Kinetic Pacific take a bit of a gamble when we had, after a long green flag run on about lap 40, we had a yellow and only 2 cars stayed out. He was one of them, and he made it work. He finished 4th in the duel and advances his way in. In this particular duel, we are and we're about to go green. We're about to grid up. In this particular duel, we've got Christian Challoner of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series with us. Of course, Blake Reynolds also runs that series, but he was slotted for duel 1. But since he was auto qualified for the pole position, he did not run the first duel. Mike Franklin has elected to run. He'll be starting pole in this one. To his outside will be Christian Challoner, who runs also for Kinetic Pacific. The team race, the Constructors Championship in the Pacific region, is just going to be bonkers. After one round, Alliance had an awesome first race at the Classic Daytona 2.4, and they own both the first 2 spots in the Constructors battle with Alliance and Alliance Evolution 1 and 2, but don't let that fool you. This is not going to be easy. It is going to be a tooth and nail battle to the end. I can assure you, Kinetic Pacific, Christian Challoner was ill that week and missed the first round. Kinetic Pacific is going to be involved, as well as Elite West and Mountain West and Riding Shotgun, as they have been dominant all week. We expect them to have a really strong showing on Sunday and really bolster their points position. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Again, we got a lot of our powerhouse teams represented in this top 60. And again, there's no race like the Daytona 500 where teamwork is a bigger factor, not only in the preparation, which from a setup perspective is critical. I mean, again, the top 60 drivers in the qualifying so far for the Pacific region are separated by less than 0.2, from 45.17 to a 45.35. Crazy. And it honestly, once we have decided who the top 5 are from each of these duels, everybody else is going to know what they have to do. Everybody who didn't make it, they got to make it in on time. And for those who haven't run their maximum of 2 qualifying stints, they know they're going to probably have to get it in there at around a 47.25, maybe lower. I don't know. It's going to be a a battle, and I'm positive that everybody that's in this field wants to be in the top 5, so they don't have to worry about that, so they can work on drafting and they can work on their race setup. Everybody else is going to be looking for that 100th. They're going to be looking for that 1000th. Anyway, we're getting ready to go here. Let's take a peek at Mr. Franklin. Our pole center is going in.
Rolling good, rolling open front.
He gets a good start. Inside row, you got Mike Franklin of Ride Shotgun. And he's followed by an Alliance driver, I want to say. Two Alliance drivers. Brian Bennett, a defending Indy 500 champion, running third on the inside row. Christian Challenger getting dropped on the outside. One thing that the earlier duel did have was a little bit, the outside row stuck with it a little bit longer, and it looks like they are completely dissolving as we speak, which is too bad. My standings would appear. Alright, Christopher Hurlow, new to Alliance, running the Evolution Squad, is in second, being pushed by his teammate Brian Bennett. It's going to be interesting to see if they're content there. And normally you would say yes, they would be. They only have to get into the top 5. It's their whole goal is to make the top 5. But you got teammates behind them in Jimbo Pfeiffer and Mark Herzog that they would also like to help get to the top 5. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of communication is going on in that team channel, how much they're going to try to work together, if they're going to try to duck outside at any point. Right now you still got Christian Challenger hanging on the outside, but he's dropping. He's went from outside pole to 8th, 9th now. You've got Drew Lalonde of Dog Bear in 4th. Again, Dog Bear qualified 2 drivers in the first duel. Only team to qualify more than 1. And right now you've got three Alliance drivers in the top 5 with Christopher Hurlow, Brian Bennett, and Jimbo Pfeiffer. And Brian Bennett, never afraid to be aggressive, has ducked outside, hoping he would entice his teammate to go with him, and it does not appear to have been the case. Is he going to give him a chance to get up there? Oh, we got a caution. Whoa, massive wreck. Let's look at this from Aaron Stowe's perspective. Whoa, a huge wreck. There wasn't much he was gonna do with that. Let's see what Tom saw. Tom driving right in. Oh, it happened well in front of them, and they just couldn't get it woed up. Brian stay out of it? Appears that he has for the most part. So this is going to shuffle things a lot. We've got an Elite West driver smoking back there. We've got Barnes has moved up to 15th. Looks like Sean Cole, for the most part, made it through, running the 390. He's also part of that Elite West crew. New signing this year. Happy to have Sean on board. He's now up to 8th, electing not to stop. We've got on lap 6, you've got a bunch of guys. Matter of fact, from 9th on back, have chosen to pit. It's going to be interesting to see. Some of those were involved in the accident, obviously, and are getting repairs. They do have one free car, one spare car at their disposal, and some of them are unfortunately having to use that now. But you've got folks like Christian Challoner, Tom Dreiling, Mark Redeker, who are in pit lane from a strategic perspective. They are trying to play the cautions out, whereas you've got somebody like Brian Barnes, Sean Cole, who just leapfrogged 15 guys, both through the accident and through pit strategy, because they have elected to stay out. And their thought process, I'm sure, is number one, track position, right? You got to get to the top 5. So make a shot at it, go for it. But number two, is if we go green from here, everybody that's in pit lane right now cannot make it. They're going to have to pit also. They're going to be close, but they're going to have to pit also. So when these guys duck in for their splash, so will the guys behind them in theory. So if we get one more caution, the folks that have just now pitted will make it for sure. Whereas, you know, the Sean Coles and the Brian Barneses and the Mark Herzogs, Jimbo Pfeiffers, the folks that are in the top 8 right now are going to need 2 more cautions for them to not have to pit. So this has shuffled things dramatically. Nobody's really out of this thing yet. You got Jack Johnson and Marcus Tracy, who are 2 laps down. Dee Palmer's 1 lap down. Michael Thompson is 1 lap down. We're all involved in that. Michael Thompson is in the Lucky Dogs position, should that become available. We are doubling up for the restart. Mike Franklin's going to lead us to green. Once again, he has led, I believe, all the laps so far, 7-7. Got Christopher Herlo to his outside, Dee Palmer running 3rd. You've got an Alliance train 3rd, 5th, and 2nd, 4th, and 6th in Herlo, Bennett, and Herzog, with Jimbo Pfeiffer on the inside, the lone guy on the inside. It's going to be interesting if they all try to squeeze down, or if Jimbo is going to jump up to join them, or if they're going to do their own thing. Again, real early days, only lap 7. First caution in the first duel came a couple laps earlier than this, and almost nobody pitted, which then we went on a long run where almost everybody had to pit with the exception of Scott Corbin, and that paid off for him because he had pit on the first caution, and he decided to gamble, stay out. It worked out for him. Finished 4th. So strategy is going to play a big part. Teammates are going to play a big part. Top 5 is what they're after. Pace car ducks in. Mike Franklin has control. And he gets away clean. Drew Lalonde shuts the door on any opportunity for Christopher Herlo to get inside. Drew is not leaving Mike's bumper. We have a car exiting pit lane. Hopefully they keep it down. Right now we got Drew and Mike breaking away. That should not be able to happen for too long. The inside row should be able to form, especially with some Alliance cats with them. Sean Cole has taken advantage on that inside road, is now up to 6th. Huge mover. Huge mover. The 6th, they're leaving Brian and Mark hanging on the outside road. They're not going anywhere, but they've got Brian Barnes coming up behind them from Mountain West Motorsports trying to hang, and now it looks like the Alliance crew is all going to go outside. Maybe. They're thinking about it. They do. So you got Herlo, Pfeiffer, Herzog, and Bennett, all Alliance, all outside line. Again, this is where it gets fun because the inside line is supposedly preferred, but you've got 4 teammates on the outside line see if they can't make it work. If it doesn't work, then you've got somebody like Sean Cole who's going to see himself inherit a top 5 spot because the strategy play gone wrong for those outside cars. Of course, you got somebody like Brian Barnes who's on that outside row hoping that he can just latch on to this team and go with them all the way to the front. So it's going to be very interesting. It is obvious that the Alliance crew is trying to get all 4 guys in to the show. They were only able to qualify 1 automatically, and it does look like Hurlo's going to be able to clear, but he's got to keep his teammate with him long enough to drag him. Woof. We got a wreck happening.
Caution's out here. Caution's out.
Looks like Gary LaViolette was
A lot
involved.
of grass on the low side on the front stretch.
Oh, man. Yep, and sure enough, Gary gets into it with 290. And I want to say that that is on the 290. Gary didn't have anything to do with that. That was Arturo. It looks like he just sort of came down. Let's take a look at that again. He's riding the inside row. Now Arturo's from Australia and is running in the Pacific region, which is awesome to see. But he, you got Gary LaViolette who is outside, Arturo on the inside. And Gary, oh no, Gary, yeah, you know what? That's a racing deal. Arturo came up just a little bit, Gary came down. They met in the middle, and they collected a couple other good cars with him, unfortunately. Matter of fact, I think Gary, for the most part, snuck away. He just misses Arturo on the backside. I'm sure he's going to have to come in for repairs if he didn't need them the first time. He's in the pit lane. Alright, let's reset where we're at. So, that changes things up a lot. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because we're on lap 11. We've had 2 cautions. Who in the top handful thinks they're going to be able to go to the end on fuel? 2 cautions isn't enough to get there, so they're banking that with 2 cautions down, 11 laps in, that you're going to have another one. Christian Challoner has already taken a stop, but he might be able to make it based on when he stopped on lap 6 and the fact that we are now under caution again. He is in a good spot with his one pit stop done. We do have a lucky dog. It looks like Michael Thompson is going to inherit that, so he's not done yet. But you saw the outside line work. You saw that with the teammates, they were starting to clear that inside row. Now, we don't know how far it would have gotten. They're going to have to do it all over again, but it was working. And again, one of the big complaints or criticisms this last week and a half all over the service has been outside row won't work, outside row won't work, and I've seen it absolutely work. You get 3 or 4 or 5 guys, and they're going to hang. And if you get 3 or 4 or 5 guys that are doing it well, they're going to be able to take on the momentum of the inside line. The inside line has a tendency to accordion as you enter the corner, whereas the outside line doesn't have that same problem. And so if you got the outside row working together real well, little by little they should advance. It's hard. It's hard. You're going a long way around the track. You've got to be a little more perfect, but they're not going to have that same accordion effect that the inside line does. And so if you're patient with it, you got teammates with you, you got people you can trust, you should be able to advance, and we saw that happen just now. And Christopher Hurlo, new to the series, new to Alliance, is leading the race. Currently top 5, Christopher Hurlo, Alliance Evolution, Mike Franklin, riding shotgun, Jumbo Pfeiffer, Alliance Evolution, Drew Lalonde, been in the top 5 all night so far from Dog Bear, owner of Dog Bear actually, and Brian Bennett from Alliance Racing. Christian Challenger, again, the first car that has at least one pit stop under his belt for Kinetic Pacific, is running 6th. I've got to think he's in a good spot, honestly, because one more caution and these guys in front of him probably are safe. But if we get any sort of a green flag run, they're going to be very concerned. Obviously, the longer the next run goes, the happier he's going to be. I would expect to see Christian be very, very cool under the next several laps. Just hold station, hoping that it goes green as long as possible as the cars start to double up. There'll be one to go here shortly. First race had just 2 cautions in the first 40 laps. We've got 2 cautions in the first 13 here. Hopefully they settle down. And if they do settle down, it's going to make for a very, very interesting dash. Now, Sean Cole looks like, and Brian Barnes, who both advanced big time on not pitting the first time around, have both elected to go ahead and pit this time, and they've dropped back to 16th and 18th. I do believe that is a net gain for them, but they were right up there, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can't advance further. Now, they should be good to go on fuel. Anybody who pitted on this last stop should be good to go. If you pitted on the first one, it's going to be a little dicey, and if you have not pitted yet, I don't think you have enough, even with the 2 cautions. So these guys in the top 5, matter of fact, everybody in the top 5, and including Mark Herzog, who's in 7th, have no pit stops. They are absolutely relying on either another caution. Well, that's what they're relying on, is another caution. Otherwise, they're not going to make it. At the back of the field, you got Gary LaViolette is 2 laps down. Arturo Amaro, who collected each other in that last wreck, is also 2 laps down. He's still in the pits. Jack Johnson, 2 laps down. He's of Mountain West Motorsports. Marcus Tracy of Dog Bear is in 23rd. Dee Palmer of Dog Bear is in 22nd. He's the only car 1 lap down, is in the Lucky Dog spot should there be another caution. And everybody else is on the lead lap. As we get ready to duck. Pace car's going to get ready to duck. You got 4 Alliance cars on the front, on the inside row. They were all on the outside row last time. They're all on the inside row this time. And again, the outside row works best when you have teammates, when you have people working together. I'm going to be very curious to see how Mike and Drew and Christian work together. Again, I would be very surprised if Christian tries to advance on the outside row. I'm going to guess he's going to try to duck in as soon as he can on the inside, knowing that everybody in front of him, if he knows that they haven't pitted, he's going to try to duck on the inside knowing that they've got to pit. So it's one of the fun things about Daytona. Strategy is a huge, huge deal. Teammates are a huge deal, and as you can see, all the ducks in a row there for Alliance. 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th. Pace car's in.
Green.
Christopher Hurlow has him. And he takes off, but he has left a gap, and Mike Franklin can take the gap if he wants to, or is he going to go back? He does. He jumps in line. Not surprising at all. Again, the outside line did not have teammates working together, and now you've got Drew Lalonde is stuck up there, and I fear he's going to drop. And he's been running top 5 the whole race so far. There's a gap behind Christian if he can get to it. I think maybe he's going to. He's got to duck in now, though, or he's going to get closed off. He does. Okay. So he's in front of the 10 of David Fiker. David's been strong this week in the clash. Always forget to refresh the paints. Dang it. Sorry for the white cars. There we go. Pop in. All right, top 5. We have Christopher Hurlow, Mike Franklin, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Brian Bennett, and Mark Herzog. Now that is 4 out of 5 are Alliance. That's going to be really, really hard to crack, except that they have to pit. That is sort of the elephant in the room, is that they have got to pit. if we go green. If there's a yellow, which I'm sure they are all sort of hoping happens, then they're going to be safe. But as it is right now, they're going to probably want to just stay tucked in, use as little fuel as possible, be able to go as long as possible. Hope for that caution to happen at any time, because at any time that it does happen, that should save them from having to make a green flag stop. I think Christian Challoner is going to be okay, having stopped on lap 6. He is in 6th, the first car to have pit. Drew is now in 7th. He has not pit, so he's really in trouble, unfortunately. Tom Dreiling of Elite West is the highest running Elite West driver. He's on the Elite West Junior, or number 2 team. They run the orange accents as opposed to the yellow accent of the parent team. Tom's been in the series for several years. Love seeing him out here. He's latched onto a good team this year for sure. You got Mark Rediker, who's also been in the series since it's founded with Northwest Majors back in 2014. He runs for Mountain West, and he may be the highest Mountain West driver right now. Brian Barnes is close to him, though. Brian, former champion, running 12th. You got Mark Torres running for Kinetic Pacific in 11th. Aaron Stowe in 13th, running for Thunder Road, and Michael Thompson has made huge gains. My God, he got the lucky dog, and he is setting sail. He's up to 13th. He's pulling a move similar to what Matthew Thunhorse did in the first race. I want to see if he can continue to move up. So you got Michael Thompson running in now 12th. That outside line is starting to gain some traction. He is pushing Aaron Stowe and Brian Barnes, and they are absolutely gaining. Brian has now passed Christian Challoner and is now into 5th. There goes Brian. He's leading that pack on the outside, and they have got momentum. Big, big, big momentum. Huge momentum. He's now cleared 3rd. He's now cleared 2nd. Can he get to Herlo in 1st, or will they stall? This is an awesome run. Now, he does stall out a little bit. He does stall out a little bit. They're side by side, drag racing. That outside line is working, and Stowe has pushed him there, with Michael Thompson all the way up to 6th after being a lap down just before this caution. And they were cruising past. Again, that is the critical part about taking that outside line, is you have to jump when the moment is exactly right. When you are a second group of cars and you are gaining on that first group, instead of killing your momentum by staying tucked in on the inside row, you got to jump out, and you will absolutely slingshot as a group if you do it right. And this one did. They passed several cars, but now they've sort of stalled. They've still got 4 cars. They should be able to hang if they hang in there. Brian's now dropped back to 4th, but he's in a transfer spot if he can maintain. And again, he's got a pit stop under his belt. He's good to go on fuel. There's no question. He just pitted on the last stop. Aaron Stowe is good to go. Again, these top 5 are not top 5 anymore, but Herlo, Franklin, Pfeiffer, Bennett, Herzog, Lalonde are all not going to make it if we stay green. We're lap 21 of 50. Brian Barnes leading the charge on the outside row. It is starting to fade just a little bit. They've lost their momentum, but if they can stick together, they can probably stay at it. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody bails, realizing that the momentum has waned. And yep, Christian Challoner ducks back in. Let's see that now. And it leaves 3 up top. I don't know that that's going to be enough to get it done. Yeah, he's willing to go back out there. Lalonde has gotten himself back on the inside lane after getting hung out to dry. He's probably a little tentative to go back up there right now. There's still a long way to go. He knows he's still got a pit, so ultimately, you know, what position he's in right now isn't the big factor. It's where is he at after a pit stop, because he's going to have one, whereas a lot of the guys around him aren't. So if it stays green. And if it stays green, this totally changes everything. Top lane now has 5 cars. Mike Franklin has ducked up to try to see if he can't finish the job for the outside row. He wants to lead again. One thing we've seen for sure is that the riding shotgun cars have a lot of power under them. They are able to lead the race and be very, very formidable from the lead. Very difficult to pass. Although I will say it looks like the Alliance setup isn't far from that. They're difficult to pass too because that outside row had a head of steam and they were not able to finish it off. And now Mike Franklin may be regretting he jumped up because now it is all Alliance drivers 4 in a row on the inside. Who are looking to take over those top 4 spots. It would be quite impressive to see one team advance 4. We got a slow car on the outside. That is Gary LaViolette. They're going to go 3 wide around him. And they make it okay. No problem. So far. And Barnes is getting dropped. Michael Thompson is now back to 10th. Again, still an amazingly impressive run from the last caution. But he's it's going to be all for naught if he doesn't get to top 5. I'm sure that's what they're all thinking. Is it's top 5 or nothing. Otherwise, they got to make it in on time. And it's a scary proposition to make it in on time, frankly, because how tight the field is. Realistically, to make the pro split in the Pacific region, you're going to have to be at a 47.25 or lower. A lot of these guys have already done 2 qualifying sessions just to get the best starting spot possible in the duel. They've sort of put all their eggs in this basket. So top 5 is critical and paramount because once they're done, if they've set 2 times, and they've all set at least 1, you can only set 2. They've all set at least 1. Once you've set 2, you're stuck, which means everybody who has not yet set a time, who wasn't attempting to make it into the duel, they're able to sit back and see what is required of them from a qualifying time. It's a very interesting strategic aspect of this whole race and the race week is when do you qualify, what do you go for? And so again, people who have qualified twice, they're done. This race is their last shot of controlling their destiny to get into the 500. And if they don't get in the top 5, they are at the mercy of everybody else's time, and they're going to be watching anxiously as those times drop the rest of the week, little by little by little, and that's exactly what's going to happen. All right, back out here, we got Christian Challoner is now leading the top row. He's gotten himself in front of Mike Franklin. That should be a very formidable duo. Michael Thompson has decided to take the inside row. He's in 8th. And Brian Barnes still hanging on the outside row. If he can latch on to those 2 guys, they may be able to make some headway. And Michael Thompson jumps out, realizing that, look, 8th's fine, but it's not top 5. We are now running lap 27 of 50. 27 of 50. More than halfway there. We're gonna ride on board with Michael Thompson on that inside line. Actually, let's back up 1. Brian Barnes has decided to take it inside. He's keeping his options open. Running 11th is Bigfoot. 3-time Northwest Club champion, 2014 Major Series champion, 2014 Southern 500 champion, Brian Barnes, is now going inside of Michael Thompson to take over 10th. But that's still not going to be good enough. Lap 28 of 50. He's tucked in behind Tom Dreiling. Aaron Stowe, the highest running Thunder Road driver, running 8th. And Drew Lalonde had a really solid race. He started up front. He's in 6th right now. And 6th is 1 spot south of where he needs to be. And they're all fighting for that same real estate, 5th place or better. We got Drew blew up. What the heck? What happened here? And no caution. Let's go back and see what happened. I wonder if he was just hot. He was running too much tape. Oh, that is horrible. That's going to be race over for Drew, especially if we stay green, and it appears that we are. We'll go back live. He's in his stall. Race is green. as he drops down the order. He's now a lap down, and even with a quick repair, and I don't see him leaving his stall. He's now 16 seconds in the pit lane. Even with the quick repair, it's not going to be enough. That is devastating for the Dog Bear driver. All right, back to the front. We've got Christopher Herlo, continues to lead. And they're going around the slow car of Gustavo Cianfari from Kinetic Pacific. Again, 4 drivers from Alliance, 4 drivers at the front of the field, 4 drivers who have not yet pit. It's lap 31. They're not getting nervous yet. Had Drew's engine failure caused a caution, I'm sure that while it was catastrophic for Drew, they would have been resting a little easier knowing that now they've had enough fuel to go. As it is, I'm guessing they've got till maybe lap 46, 47, 48. I do not think they have until lap 50 though. Jimbo running second. Jimbo, long-time member of the Major Series, big-time contributor on the committee. Always appreciative of all of his ideas and help. Running second, Brian Bennett, again, Indy 500 winner from a year ago. Legends champion from a year ago, running in third. Herzog, California driver for Alliance, running fourth. But Christian Challenger has now made it into the top 5. He knows it's all he has to do, running for Kinetic Pacific. Mike Franklin running 6th is already into the show via his qualifying time. So the top 6 are probably pretty content right where they're at, other than the fact that 5 of the 6 of them have to pit. Christian is super content, I assure you. Where he is at. Now the guys behind them, not so much. Brian Barnes running 9th, Tom Darling 8th, Aaron Stowe 7th. They would desperately, yeah, somebody's slow. That's Gary Leviolette up top, getting lapped again, unfortunately. And if we do not get a caution, they are going to be some interesting. People are going to move up about 4 or 5 spots and not necessarily even know it. And if they do know it, so if you've got people like, you know, Aaron Stowe, Tom Darling, Brian Barnes, Michael Thompson, Mark Redeker, if they know that those first 4, 5, 6 cars are in need of a pit stop, they may be content to ride. They may be hoping to stay clean and not jostle too much. We'll see. I don't know how much. You never know how much they know. And that's why teammates are huge in this race more than any other. Redeker on the inside. Oh, these guys are not working together very well at all, are they? 31 Nathan Little is now tucked in behind Mark Redeker. Mark Torres on the outside of that 3-car group for 11th, 12th, and 13th. Again, they probably trying to advance any way they can, unaware of necessarily what's in front of them, because what's in front of them is a single file line. That can't look good to them, because making headway on that's going to be difficult. But they are, at least, top 13 have broken out. We've got Rob Powers in 14th, who is 2.5 seconds back of Mark Torres. This group is in need of something to happen. And if it doesn't, then they're going to be short of their goal of being in the top 5. Rob Powers running for Kinetic as well. Kinetic has become a force in the series overall, running teams in Pacific, Atlantic, and International full teams. The Atlantic team is just a satellite team, but a team nonetheless, and they've got even a couple of drivers in the European region, although not really a full squad, so they're not really running for team points, but especially in Pacific and International. Kinetic is a force. It's neat to see John King leading that group to join some of our other real powerhouse teams like Dog Bear, which you see Dee Palmer in there behind them, Mountain West, Elite West, Alliance, Riding Shotgun. Will all be dueling battle for not only the Constructors Championship at the end of the year, but also trying to make it in the top 3 in the Constructors Championship after Indy to qualify for LMP1 class at Le Mans. And this little group here, with starting at 15th, is 14th with David Fiker, is losing ground, unfortunately, in need of something drastic to happen. Here's where it's going to get interesting. We've got, again, our top 4 drivers are all Alliance, and none of them have pitted. We're on lap 37. They probably have 10 laps of fuel, 9, 10 laps of fuel in them. Lap 37 of 50. They're content where they're at, sort of. Way up to 16th, but again, they're in that pack that just doesn't want to get itself settled. It is now a 4 seconds back of the lead. That's all in all not that bad. We're this deep into this run, and they're only 4 seconds. They've only dropped by 4 seconds, which means that if there are pit stops, they're going to obviously easily clear the group that has to pit. Nobody else in the field should have to pit. If anybody who's pitted at least once should be okay. Might be close for the Christian Challengers of the world, but I think they're going to be okay. People who pitted on the second round are definitely okay. Alright, who is the last car in this first train? Looks like it might be Aaron Stowe. No, this group has caught them. The second group has caught them, and it's Mark Torres. Let's go on board with Mark. He is running 12th. And again, one of the very interesting dynamics in the draft package right now is that if you are the last car in line, of any line, it doesn't matter whether you're the front of the pack or the rear of the pack, if you are the last car in your line, it's going to be difficult to hang on to the car in front of you, no matter how good you are. And so if you're at the back of a line, you're going to want to be with teammates or with somebody that you're communicating with, so that if you do lose it, they can back up to you and you guys can together make a run. Honestly, it can be a really strategic strong point if guys are communicating. If they're not, then you're just going to get dropped. And matter of fact, Nathan Little is trying his best to hang on to Mark. So 0.1 back, but if you get to 0.3 back and you're the final car in the line, you are not going to hang on to it. It's just that simple. You're done. Mark Torres, let's bump Christian Trellner back up to 5th, but he is ducking outside. Maybe he's just staying cool. I wonder if anybody saw what happened to Drew and thought, well, don't want that to happen to me. This race is an excellent test in the exact weather conditions that we're going to face on Sunday to see how long your car can go with the tape that you have given it. Again, lap 42, these front 4. It's not long now. They're going to have to think about coming in, although you know they're going to hold it off as long as humanly possible. We're going to just focus in on them at this point until a decision is made. As the laps tick off, I'm going to guess they're 5 laps away maximum from having to come. Again, ducks out. I think that's just to stay and keep his engine cool. it's not. He's staying out there. Boy, I don't know what he thinks he's gaining, or maybe he knows these guys are going to have to come in. But you would hate, he's going to be on point here in a second. He may not realize that. 43 down. On lap 44 now. How long can they go? Christopher Herlo, Jimbo Pfeiffer, Brian Bennett, Mark Herzog, all of Alliance, all needing to pit within the next 3 laps. Christian Challenger, the only car, or the first car that's in theory good to go. Mike Franklin also will need to pit from 6th. If those things happen, that's going to promote people like Tom Dreiling, Brian Barnes, Michael Thompson into the top 5, and they may not even realize it at this moment in time. Yeah, we've got a 13-car breakaway pack that has a 4.5-second gap on 14th. And Stowe is on the outside. He's going to want to duck in as soon as he can. We've got a car down low, just coming off the pit road now. Let's see if Aaron can hold on to the pack, because a lot of times you'll duck in at the end of that with nobody behind you and lose it. Let's see if he can hang on to it. We are on lap 45 of 50. The strategy is about to get very, very real. And we got a couple of Alliance cars in. Herlo is in along with Jimbo Pfeiffer, but they did not bring them all. Bennett is still out there. Don't know if he's just praying for that caution. Buell being at the front of that pack. Although I found that for the most part, these guys are all full throttle all the way around, so I don't know that you're saving much. But maybe a little, maybe just enough, maybe a lap here and there. Okay, here goes, and Bennett and Herzog are both going to come in now. And so will Mike Franklin, and Mike Franklin is speeding. And Herzog misses this bit. That's messy. And again, just what we thought might happen. Christian Challenger promoted to the lead. Tom Dreiling probably did not realize that he was about to receive that gift. Is now in 2nd. Michael Thompson in 3rd. Brian Barnes in 4th. And Mark Redeker in 5th. We've got 2 Mountain West drivers in Barnes and Redeker that have just jumped up into the top 5. If Redeker will let his teammate in, and I would think he will, I would hope so anyway, they're going to have this thing sewn up. Christian is the only one of this group that is of any danger of not making it on fuel, and he may be close. He pitted on lap 6, although I think he's going to be okay. Brian is content to hang out there on the top side. I'm very surprised if he can get down in front of his teammate. And we got Jimbo on the top side, just having coming out of his pits. That's going to force Brian into line, and it does. So our top 5 on lap 48, 3 to go. Christian Challenger. Whoa, and Michael, why they are racing for this thing. I do not understand this whatsoever. You've just been gifted a top 5, and they're giving it away? Maybe, maybe not. Tom Dreiling going for the race win from Elite West, being pushed by his teammate Michael Thompson from Elite West. You've got 2 Mountain West drivers in the top 5 currently as well. Only Christian Challenger is by himself from Kinetic. Aaron Stowe is on the outside looking in. Mark Torres is on the outside looking in, although he's got his teammate and Christian up there. Lap 49, 2 to go. If we can get to the green, if we can get to the start-finish line, we will be finishing under green. And we have done so. We have done so. We are going to finish under green. Christian Challenger is, and they're going to try to get around Brian Bennett, who's trying his best to let him by. He's able to do so. Right now you've got Christian Challenger in first, Brian Barnes in second, Mark Redeker and Tom Dreiling are fighting for that third and fourth spot, and Michael Thompson in fifth, but Mark Torres is pushing up. It's going to be a drag race between Thompson and Torres at this moment in time to see who gets the final spot. Aaron Stowe's there too, but I don't think he's going to get it. And you have got Michael Thompson gets the last spot. So the finals 5, for the 5 that qualify, are going to be Christian Challenger from Kinetic, Brian Barnes from Mountain West, Mark Redeker from Mountain West, Tom Dreiling from Elite West, and Michael Thompson from Elite West are going to make it. Mark Torres is just going to miss out. Aaron Stowe is just going to miss out. Nathan Little, new to the series. Sean Cole from Elite West also finishes 9th. Again, they were gifted some spots they probably did not expect to be gifted. But nonetheless, they were there at the end. Congratulations to Christian Challenger on his first win in the Major Series, and has locked himself into P4 on the grid for Sunday. So, congrats. Brian Barnes has a over 50 race streak of not only racing in the Major Series, but in the Pro Split. That will be elongated by one more. This is the race that probably people fear the most in terms of getting shuffled out of the Pro Split, given how close the times are. And Brian started well back in the pack and moved his way up to second. So congratulations to the Mountain West driver. Mark Redeker, again, also Mountain West teammates were able to make it up there. Very, very impressive as Christian burns it down. Really good racing tonight. Not a lot of bump drafting. We had a total of 5 cautions in the combined in the two duels. Only 2 tonight. They were both done within the first 11 laps, and they went green from that way forth. Unfortunately, that bit, you know, the 2 cautions in the first 10 laps had to be a harbinger to the people who were at the front, like Brian Bennett and Christopher Hurlow and Jimbo Pfeiffer and Mark Herzog, that, hey, there's going to be more cautions, so we're good. Let's just hang out there. Now, for Mike Franklin, it didn't matter so much. He was already locked in. He could play that strategy without worry, but as the laps ticked down, I'm certain that that they were getting nervous, that they had made the wrong decision, and ultimately they did. Ultimately, that is exactly what happened. They had made the wrong decision. Again, as we watch Christian burn it down for his celebration. So I'm hoping that the stream went okay. We'll find out in a second, I guess. Good races. I hope this is an indicator of what we're going to see on Sunday. Again, strategy is going to be a huge part. Teamwork is going to be a huge part. From this point forward, the people who didn't make the top 5, they're either sitting nervously because they don't have any more bullets in their gun with regard to qualifying opportunities, and they're just going to be watching the rest of the times come in. Or hope you enjoyed, and good night.